Yo, 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 everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We've got another episode of Vibe Check. I'm so excited to see you, Reagan Lance. How are you doing?
I'm great. It's good to be back. How are you?
I'm doing great. We're coming off the holidays. I'm really excited to talk to you because it's been a minute and we have
hmm
so much to talk about today. How are
Yes,
you
we
doing?
do. Great. Just spending a lot of time with family, but I'm going back this Sunday, so almost done. But it's been so good just being with my little sister and getting to go to her volleyball tournaments and work on volleyball with her, and then just being with my parents and my oldest brother. I didn't get to see him because he lives in Texas, but spending time with my other older brother, so that's been really good too.
No, that is so awesome. And we're going to talk about all of that and so much more.
Mhm.
We have a really packed lineup today. We're going to be talking about Kai Cenat's lawsuit drama. We're actually going to listen to the Fousey diss track madness. Some big moves happening with women's volleyball. And of
Mhm.
course, we're going to be talking about all that you have going on. So,
Yeah.
all right, we have to jump right into the chaos. We got to talk about it. Big things happening in your world. The internet's all talking about everything that's going on with volleyball. It's on the
Mhm.
rise, the new pro league, the love league. What does
Yes.
that mean for players like you?
Oh man, Jay, this is an absolute game changer for not only just volleyball, but for women's sports in general, and for any girl ever who's been dreaming of playing pro or wanting to play college and then see where it takes them after that. Just the fact that we now have options in the United States, that we don't have to go overseas, and that there's more than one option, meaning more roster spots and just more opportunity for players like me and other players to have that opportunity to play pro is just absolutely amazing. And it's just so encouraging. And two, to know like how invested people are in the pro leagues is mind blowing to me, and just the support volleyball is continuing to get, and people realizing how awesome volleyball is. I mean,
Yeah.
they've been slow to the train, but it's
Hey,
just really cool to see.
better late than never, right?
Exactly. And it's happening at a, like, selfishly, I'm happy that it's
Yeah.
happening right now and not later. Um, I wish it had happened sooner for other players, but I just think it's so amazing, and it's such big steps for volleyball, and it's just a huge opportunity for all girls playing college volleyball.
I'm super excited. Everybody knows I'm a big volleyball fan. I've been fortunate. I've seen some really big matches. I've been to some really big games. But Reagan, do you think this league can help volleyball grab attention like some of the other leagues, like the WNBA and the MLS that we've seen really making some moves?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's now talk of a third league that's gonna start in 2026. Um, and it was like, I think it's MLV, Major League Volleyball. Pretty sure that's what it is.
Yep.
Some people aren't so happy about it, others are super happy about it. I think eventually they'll all morph into one, or they'll all end up just playing each other.
Yeah.
But there's tons of leagues for football and basketball. There's other sports with more than one league. So
Absolutely.
I think if there's the funding for it, they're just going to keep pushing it. And hey, the more opportunities there are for female athletes that play volleyball, I think the better. And unless there's no more funding, I don't see a reason why they shouldn't keep adding roster spots and opportunities for it to grow.
Yeah, I was looking at this release that came out. I was so excited. And like you said, you're so right. I love the point that you just made because right now, right, the WNBA and the 3-on-3 league, the unrivaled for women's basketball, they've got a multiple leagues. And we know the NFL, right? There used to be the USFL, there's like a bunch of other leagues. What does that say to you now that you're, playing? What does that say to you about the possibility for your career and where you'd like to move?
For me, that just shows how much possibility there is within my sport, and is just so encouraging to me. And I've had my heart set on playing pro for a little bit now, and It's a really big goal of mine.
Yeah.
My coach is well aware of that, and it just makes to me more. I never doubted in my mind that I wasn't going to be able to play pro, but it's way more feasible that I'll be able to play pro here with more opportunities there, just as it would be for absolutely any other player in the country. The more opportunity there is, it's just more encouraging to know that it's really that feasible for you.
I love that. I love that. And we want to welcome everybody in the chat. We're talking women's volleyball, professional league. We're talking about our hopes, dreams, aspirations. All right, chat, we got something for you. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat. We want you to go to the chat. Tell us, who's your favorite volleyball player?
Yes.
Let's chop it up. Who's your favorite? So who is yours? Now, I would assume, like, do you know some of the players that are currently playing in some of the leagues that are going on right now?
I don't really know any of them personally. I know people that know people. So like,
yeah.
Actually, no, I do know one girl personally. I almost totally forgot about this. I don't know how. She plays for Vegas Thrill. Her name is Carly Graham. She's a setter. And I met her this summer when I was in San Diego with Dexcom for the big Dexcom U athlete event thing. And they had pro athletes there, and she was one of the pro athletes. So
yeah.
She's absolutely awesome. Love her bunches, and she's killing it. So, yeah.
And I love that. And right now, I know you probably haven't had a chance to watch it. We're talking about the new Unrivaled League, which is 3-on-3. We saw it during the Olympics. What does that say when you're looking at that league and you see what they're doing? Your sports now saying, okay, we've been the fastest growing sport over like the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And you guys see them making a lot of motion. Does that give you also more hope for not just you, but for the girls who are playing and club world and what their possibilities are?
Yeah, the amount of support and push and drive for college volleyball and just women's volleyball pro and everything right now just gives me so much hope for the future and just for more opportunities to come about for girls who have big dreams of playing and just even in college, and just the opportunities it's going to unlock. And also with just volleyball gaining more traction and continuing to build and build each year as we've seen over the past few years.
Yep.
It just gives me so much hope in the funding and everything that we can start getting, just so maybe volleyball gets a little more love like some of those basketball and football teams out there.
Yeah. And I have to ask you about the new Love League. If am I saying it right? The Love League.
Yes.
First of all, I don't know who's doing the marketing. Shout out to you. You get a raise, you get a raise, and you get a raise, because I love the name. It just flows off of the tip of your mouth. What is your take on it so far? I know that it's got you grew up in the club world. You're like a who's who in that world, former All-American, if you guys don't know, in high school. What about its club roots, and what do you think? What do you think about that? The league has those relationships.
Love having the club foundation. I think is just so amazing, because it then just creates more opportunity to connect those pro players with younger girls, and them just too being able to see like, wow, like I play for this club and there's a pro team.
Yeah.
Like, that's just such a cool connection. And also my coach actually runs one of the Love clubs.
What?
In Hamilton.
Wait. Shout out to your coach.
Yes. And I'm actually going to be coaching the team.
So first of all, we got to shout him out. Who's your coach, if you don't mind saying?
Coach Dan Gwitt. Dan Gwitt, the man.
All right. So tell us, because I don't know Dan. Coach Dan, shout out to you, Coach Dan. How do you know him, and tell us about him? What kind of a coach is he, and when did you play with him?
Yeah, so Dan is my college coach now. He is our new coach that came in this past year. He's awesome. He played at Penn State. He coached at Penn State. He coached at Indiana as an assistant, and he just knows volleyball inside and out. He's so smart, and he just has so much passion for the game and cares about us as players so deeply. So I'm just very thankful for him and him coming in, and he's just been such an encouragement, but also has been pushing me in so many amazing ways. And it's hard some days, but I know he believes in me and that he's going to push me to be the best player I can be, and he's going to help me get wherever my heart desires. So
Okay,
it's really awesome. Yeah.
I'm liking the sound of Coach Dan. And speaking of which, I saw on your social media, you're back training. I mean,
Yes.
looking like a young Michael Jordan. All right, talk to us about that. I don't have it. Sorry, I don't have the clip. I just saw it right before the show, but tell us what you're doing, because like I was vibing on it.
Yeah. The guy that I train with, he is like he runs the place that I go to. It's called ETS. They have multiple other facilities too and whatnot. He just runs the location that I go to. He goes to my church. So my dad had met him and he was like, this dude has like a over 40-inch vertical. Like his hops are crazy. I told him like what you jump. And he's like, you should go train with me. So I started going to their gym, and he's been putting together plans for me to help me increase my vertical and just get stronger and faster and all the great things that I want to do. So yeah, it's really been awesome. I love training there. So shout out to ETS. Y'all are awesome. Great people, great coaches. I love it.
I love it. And that dovetails right into my next question. What is it that you're wanting to work on? We know you ended the season, took a little bit of time. What are you focusing on this off season?
For this spring, I'm focusing a lot on fixing the skills that I'm not so great at, just from years of just either not knowing what I was supposed to be doing, not being told the right thing, whatnot. So this spring is really going to be on breaking it down and figuring out what I'm doing wrong, how I can fix things, and knowing that I'm going to get over it, and
Yeah,
I'm not going to be doing things quote unquote wrong, because I don't like thinking about it that way, because wrong has a very negative connotation.
absolutely. Yeah.
But really just focusing on the little things that I can fix, and then continuing to work hard to be a better athlete, be faster, jump higher, hit harder, all the other things that I already do, but I know I can also push myself to do better. So all around, just going to grind this spring and get better at absolutely everything I can.
I love it. And I love it because you're working on that's the difference, right? There's this book I love. It's called Good to Great. And one of the things it talks about is that sometimes people just work on the things they're already good at, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you're saying, I'm going to lean into that. I love it. And let's talk about the upcoming spring season, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fans know that the spring season is just as hot as the fall season. What does
Yeah.
that look like for you? Like, what's the timeline for you guys?
Mm-hmm. So we start with 8-hour weeks at the beginning, where we're limited to 8 hours with our coaches. That includes weightlifting. So we lift in the mornings 3 days a week, and then we'll have practice not every day, and they'll be pretty short. And then after I think 4 weeks of 8-hour weeks, we go straight back into 20-hour weeks. And it'll just be a lot of practice, lots of getting extra reps in the gym. Whatever I can do to get in the gym, I'll be in there working whatever I can. And then also in the spring, we'll play a few games, but I don't know what that schedule is quite
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, I like it. I like this Reagan. I mean, you came back from the break. She's got a Swizzy back. The vibe is vibing right now.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about that as well. What do you normally do after the season? You guys ended the season, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
changes. A thing that's a little bit different. You're playing now. I'm an old school dude from the way back. We didn't have a transfer portal, which means that rosters are shifting.
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with that? As you and all the athletes, D1 athletes?
Yeah, and it's honestly it's crazy. This year for the transfer portal and everything, I think has been probably the craziest it's been in a long time. Um, there's a lot of other things going on, so you never know if it's someone's unhappy or whatnot. But also, the NCAA just put in a rule that rosters are capped at 18.
Yeah.
So if you had a team more than 18, which we did, you either had to cut girls, or girls chose to leave on their own because they didn't think they were going to get playing time, or they just wanted a switch up of things. And honestly, to me, to transfer portal and everything, it's do what you need to do. And as a teammate, unless something went crazy and like
Yeah.
they were insane or something bad happened, it's always to me like, I really hope you find what you're looking for, and I'll be cheering you on all
Yeah.
the way. I'm obviously sad you're leaving, and we had a few people leave, and it was definitely hard to see them go, but I'm just beyond excited for them and what's to come for them, and we'll be cheering them on always and checking in on them, staying in touch still,
Yeah.
because we still had a good amount of time together. And in college sports, you're together so much that it's hard not to care for someone.
Yeah, and talk to me. My timeline. I follow a lot of athletes,
Mhm.
and I felt like it was like the end of a reality TV show. My overall timeline, not your team,
Mhm.
because it's like people packing up and moving. I'm torn. They're leaving, but then oftentimes they're excited about this new opportunity
Yes.
that's coming. What is it like welcoming people in, and then also establishing that new culture, right? Because
Mhm.
if for your average team, and your team may not have that much shifting, but some teams
Yeah.
have 5 people shifting, you know what I mean? 3 coming
Yeah.
in, 2 going out. What challenges does that bring? And one thing that I know about you, I know you to be a great leader. What opportunities does it bring you?
For me, the transfer portal and all the changing and all the shifting is, especially in my faith, a really big opportunity for me to be Jesus's light
Yeah.
and just be welcoming in that happy, excited face. And I'm excited they've chosen to come to Miami, and I can't wait to see what they bring and get to know them as a person. And I trust my coaches; they're not going to make a bad pick. And whoever they're bringing in, they obviously think is going to be a culture add and everything. So just holding true to what our culture needs to be, and also pushing for what we want it to be, and just pulling them along and making sure they're on board and telling them straight up like these are expectations and everything. But overall, I want to be a happy face, a face that they know. Will do anything to help them out, help them get settled. If they have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. Um, because if we don't have trust off the court, how can we trust
Yeah.
on the court? So I really hope that through my faith and everything, that I can just be that welcoming light, but then also help lead and push that culture that we're working towards and building.
Yeah. Well, all right, gotta do a little bit of housekeeping. We're gonna keep going on with volleyball, but we have to welcome. We have some people in the chat. Shout out to the chat. You guys know I love the chat. We got Ronnie Jr. Is it Rev? How do you say the last name? I'm gonna go Ronnie R because I don't like people messing up my name, so I'm not gonna do you like that. He said she's going pro. That'd be you, Reagan.
Thank you.
And then another comments from Ronnie says, Ronnie, have you potentially thought about I'm gonna have to have you potentially thought about a potential future pro team if you got your pick on where you go?
Ooh, I'd probably go somewhere in Texas. I just want to be back in the South.
What? Come on now. Now of course
Too cold here.
but you excelled. You're all American. You're all American in high school. You're doing your thing where you are right now,
Mhm.
but you still want to come on back, huh? What's the biggest thing you miss? I've lived all over in the Midwest. I'm from the
Mhm.
Midwest. I missed a lot. For me, it was like the food because you can't get everything you want. You know what I mean? Like the barbecue is a little different. What's that thing for you?
The thing I miss most about Texas, is everything. The weather, the sun, the food, just everything. Guys, you don't know good Mexican food until you go to Texas. Tex-Mex is the best thing ever, and
Yeah,
barbecue is so good in Texas.
yeah,
There's just
yeah.
nothing like it.
If you know, you know. All right, Ronnie.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I got to shout out Ronnie. Thanks for the comment. Keep them coming. If you're in the chat, go ahead and throw them up. We'll address them as we see them. And Reagan, before we go a little bit further, where can people find you on social media? Because if you guys aren't following Reagan Lance, I'm gonna give her a plug. She shares her life. She does incredible videos. I love watching her life and the dancing with herself and her teammates. Where can people follow you and what platforms?
I'm mostly on Instagram and TikTok right now. So Instagram, you can find me at Reagan Lance, and then on TikTok, it's Ray_Grace with 2 E's.
I love that. I love that. All right, so as we kind of close a little bit on volleyball, what's the biggest thing overall you're looking forward to in the sport? I mean, I just kind of think about just this huge opportunity, the new league. You have other pro leagues, obviously, it's professional beach volleyball, which
Mhm.
I lived on the West Coast. I love me some volleyball. Although I got to tell you, I was watching you work out, and I'm not in your shape. I'm not in your shape anymore. I was jealous watching your videos because one of the things that I was watching the 3-on-3 women, I was watching beach volleyball, and I feel like there's so much similarities because in each of beach volleyball to 3-on-3 is three with women's basketball, there's so much court to cover. How do you
Mhm.
do it? How do you do
Yeah.
it, Megan?
Oh man, I don't even know sometimes. Beach, I mean, big commends to anyone who plays beach. It's super fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun. But it is a ton of court to cover, and you have to have really good communication with your partner, and also just like you gotta just hustle. The only nice thing though about beach is it hurts a lot less to fall on, like, just full on lay out on sand than it
Yeah.
does a court. So sometimes in some senses it's easier to just like throw yourself because you know you're not really going to get hurt on the sand.
Okay.
But jumping in the sand is extremely hard. Extremely.
Yeah, because I look at the reason why I really respect the men and women who play beach volleyball. If anybody, if you haven't been to a beach, go run on it. And you'll see, just go run 50 yards, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, you have to run in it. And then I look at some of the athletes, and they're like, you guys can't see it. I'm holding my hand up. They're so high off the ground. What does that say to you about the overall volleyball? All of them that play on the different surfaces, because you could make the argument right now, some of the best athletes in the world are volleyball players.
Oh, 100%. I 100% agree with the statement that volleyball players are some of the best athletes in the world because it's hard to understand when you're just watching volleyball. 'Cause you're like, oh yeah, that'd be easy. Da, da, da. But the amount of volleyball IQ it takes and pure just athleticism it takes to do a lot of the things we do is crazy. Like sometimes I'll think about it and I'm like, how do I do that? Like what? Um, but just in not necessarily is everyone just like a natural athlete, put a lot of work into it and like
Yep.
getting better and getting faster and jumping higher and working on your eyes, reading the ball and everything. But the reaction time, being able
Yeah.
to read a volleyball, which can be so unpredictable. It's a floating ball in the air.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Timing it right to go hit the ball out of the air and over the net and blocking and all the things, all the little things and little details you have to be so honed into the whole game, the whole time. The minute you let up focusing on anything, like someone's going to get you.
Yeah.
So I totally agree that some of the best athletes in the world are volleyball players because just the amount of things you have to take in such little time is just crazy.
All right. I'm totally going off script, but you made me think of this. So, living in New York, there's a thing called Brooklyn Bridge Pier 6. If you guys haven't been, they have like three full-length courts, and it's so cool because you're overlooking Manhattan. It's literally on the water. It used to be an old dock because they used to have like a bunch of manufacturing. They turn those into volleyball courts, and I go there and play, and I have to tell you, so they redid it, made it.
Mhm.
It has sand. It's got like a little restaurant bar. It's beautiful. And you guys should Google it while I'm talking. I have to tell you, it's an incredible place to play. And if you're in New York, this is just a short up a plug for volleyball, and you're going, you should play there. And I think you'd love it. Okay. And this will be great content, Reagan. You
You're
on
right.
the Brooklyn Bridge beach volleyball court, and in the off season, of course.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. The only time I'd have to go to anywhere.
Right. Well, and you're Ohio, not very far, right? I mean, a lot of people don't know that Ohio's just not. I mean, it's very short trip.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, where as we kind of switch up gears a little bit, want to talk to you about coming back from the Passion Conference in Atlanta. Over
Yes.
60,000 people. Man, that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love Passion. I went for the first time last year and it was in the Mercedes Benz and it was just such a cool experience. And just being in that big of a place with that
Look
many
at
people. And then
look at that.
this
I don't want to
year,
stop you. Look at that,
yes,
y'all.
this year it was in the State Farm Arena, which is right next to Mercedes Benz. So a little less people, but they did 2 sessions this time. And it was just, oh, so amazing. Sometimes it's hard to put into words, but so many amazing speakers, the music. I mean, I love good worship music
Yeah.
and just being in a room full of people just fully worshiping and singing to the Lord is just such a cool experience. And then I went with my cousin and then a friend I'd met on a mission trip.
Okay, quick question. I hate to break. Is this who we're looking at right now?
Yes. So
Okay.
the girl in the
Shows
middle,
who is this again? Who is this?
so the girl in the middle is who I met on a mission trip in Alaska. Her name is Allie. And then the girl on the end is my cousin, Ella.
Okay. Shout
Yeah.
out to y'all. Shout out to you guys. And look at this crowd. I just want to talk about this for a second. So this is in the arena. I mean, how many people? This thing is packed. It looks like an
Yeah.
NBA game.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't take a picture all the way up, but there were people at the top of the rafters
Wow.
up there sitting. And that's what I was telling you before we came on, like, you
Mhm.
have to get there early to get a good
Oh
seat.
my gosh. So that's what you're talking about right there, all the way up to the top. Because if you
Mhm.
right on the back, the right side of the picture, there's people all the way to the
Like,
rafters.
all the way out there, yeah.
Oh wow. Look at this. This is incredible. So they had these big screens out. Talk to me while we're looking at these pictures. I'll run them through one more time because you take such good photos. What inspired you? Yeah, you do a great job. What inspired you to go?
Oh, just to be the biggest thing that inspired me to go last year and then again this year was just that sense of community and just experiencing that in such a big sense of so many people gathering in one place to learn more about the Lord and grow in their relationship with Him. And just that community was so cool. And just to see how many people are on fire for the Lord or wanting to be on fire for the Lord and just taking in that time as what they needed it to be is just so cool. And just seeing how God is working in other people and tugging on your heart. And it's so hard to put into words what this experience is like, but the messages that are given are so good and everyone takes something a little bit different from it away. But what I found last year and this year just really pushes me to continue to walk more like Jesus every
Yeah.
day and making sure that all that I'm doing is not for myself or for the world, but to glorify His name. And it's just such a good reminder and to put into perspective after a crazy season and always just everything. Just, I feel like even though it's tiring and everything,
Yeah.
being able to take time and really reflect and be in that community is just so cool. And I'm just so grateful that I've had the opportunity and the ability to go the past 2 years.
Yeah, it looks like a phenomenal experience. Just really great presentation. I
Mhm.
actually ended up going on social media, inspired by you and seeing some of the clips, and looked like they had some really good pastors and speakers and
Yes.
a lot of people. What was it like being around so many people?
That was crazy. Well, being around so many people, especially with like sickness and everything breaking out and whatnot, especially
Yeah.
neurovirus, and I have a horrible fear of throwing up.
Wait,
Horrible.
what? Tell me
I
about that real quick. I don't want to stop your story, but tell me about that.
I have an absolute I have a metaphobia, the fear of throwing up and others throwing up. So when my mom was like, "Wash your hands," and I was like, "I know," because I knew the neurovirus is going around, I was like, Lord, please protect this place from anyone getting sickness. I prayed that every single morning. I'm not even kidding you.
I
I
can't with
just
you.
I don't let I can't. I'll take any other sickness. Seriously, anything else. I just cannot throw up. That's no.
Oh man, so sorry. You were telling me about being around so many people. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, so I just that was my first thought was I just didn't want to get sick. But being around so many people is so cool and just like randomly talking to people, waiting in line. We were in this group of guys like selfie, and I don't have the picture. Sadly enough. So and I have no way to get it, nor do I know who they were. I didn't get anyone's names.
Oh man.
We were just joking with them, and they all of them had mustaches, and it was crazy. It was a great time though. It was so funny.
Wow.
But just being in that community is just such a cool thing, and like
Yeah.
being able to just say like hi to a random person and or connecting with them on social media because so many people are making TikToks about
Yeah.
passion and
Yeah. Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the things. I made a passion TikTok. I got attacked in the comments about it.
What? No, no, no. Tell me about that. What happened? What did you post? And who does that?
It was real okay. I made a joking TikTok. Okay. It was
I
hilarious. All
I
right.
got
It said POV looking for my husband at Passion. Okay.
you.
It's a joke. But also, what better place to look? Be aware. I'm not actively seeking, like going after someone. I'm just
Right.
aware. I'm always aware.
Right.
But I'm like, I'm gonna make a funny TikTok, posted it. It got a lot of views, but a lot of the comments were people coming after me and like, maybe you should seek Jesus first, and like all these things are like lock in by girls and things like that. And I'm like, guys, you're missing the intent of the
Right.
TikTok. It's a
Yeah.
joke.
It's the
But
joke.
also, there's nothing wrong. Like people were coming like I was being a bad Christian. Oh my goodness. It was hilarious to me. I thought it was so funny. Then a pastor stitched my TikTok and defended me. Oh, it was great.
Shout out
It
to
was
you,
awesome.
Pastor. I don't know who
It
you
was
are, but shout
awesome.
out
I
to
don't
you.
even remember his name, but I commented on his TikTok and I was like, thank you.
That's awesome. If you're just joining us to the chat, we're talking about the 2024 Passion Conference. I just looked it up. Like I said, 65,000 people took place in Atlanta, Georgia. Right. And you said I thought it was in the Mercedes Benz, but you said it was next
That was
door.
last year. So
Oh, it
I
is.
think you're looking at last year's because this year it would technically be 2025 because it was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, yeah. And it was beginning of year, it was like the second through looks like it's like a week basically. And
Yeah,
it's
it's 3 days and then it's like a night, a full day, and then a morning.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
Man, you got to pull up. It's I mean, of course, everybody knows I went to Baylor University, Christian University, and of course, everybody knows Passion is like huge. And um,
Yes, there were a lot of Baylor students there.
come on, throw it up, throw it up. All right, so I have to ask you. You were just talking about you were talking about being there and look for the husband. So I have this question for you. So let's just say I'm thinking about you being there,
Mhm.
and everybody you're praying, right? Everybody's deep in. Heads bowed, eyes shut, except for like one person. And you look up and they have their eyes fully wide open and they're like scouting for snacks, right? Trying to beat everybody to the good stuff. Because everybody knows that church events have the best snacks, right? They slap. But here's my question. Can you really trust someone who doesn't close their eyes during prayer? Like, do they even deserve a second date? I got to ask you, is that a red flag in dating?
I think it depends on the circumstance because my little sister sometimes cracks jokes at me during prayer, and then I open my eyes to look at her, and she's like sitting next to me, looking at me and like cackling. Um, so in that sense, no, it's fine. But I mean, I feel like if you're on a date and like you're praying and their eyes are wide open and
Yeah.
staring at you, they may be a serial killer.
Right. Because you're like, who does it? I don't know if you could
Yeah.
trust them.
Yeah.
Especially if they're trying to during the prayer, they're really trying to eye and like beat people out for the snacks, you know what I mean? And get
Yeah.
all like the good nuts, the good granola, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be a psychopath.
Could be. Could be.
All right, so Passion, of course, and to that point, is it like college? Well, I'll say college. Ring by Spring was a thing. If you know, you know. Was it like that at Passion 2025 in the A?
I mean, that's kind of like what my TikTok was, and it just depends on the person. I mean, I'm not really like, I'm more like talking with the people I went to, randomly
Yeah.
chatting with people around me. I'm
Yeah.
aware, my eyes are peeled. They're peeled always. But it's definitely a thing. Like they've joked about it at Passion. Like maybe you're sitting next to your future husband. Like you never know. Like da 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 da. So I think it's something everyone is like semi-aware of, but not necessarily Ring by Spring like it is at Baylor and Liberty and other Christian universities.
But it's definitely a thing. And
Oh,
again,
it's a
I
thing
yeah, and I don't mean
for
necessarily
sure.
you, but here's the other thing I will say: it is an affinity, right? Meaning you're at the same place at the same time with people you
Yes.
might, you guys ended up at the same
Yes.
spot. You know what I'm
God
saying?
has a plan. It will happen when he wants it to happen.
Right. Got to defend my people. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. What was like a memory that you had, whether it's like fun or serious from Passion 2025?
Ooh, it's a good one. Um, I think one of the biggest like memories that I had um that was very impactful from Passion was just looking around like during worship during a song, and literally like every single person in the entire place's hands were raised,
Mm,
and that's just such a cool thing to take in and experience, and just seeing that is such a cool thing, and like experiencing it is a whole nother thing too, and just taking it in but being present, I think, is just sometimes a hard thing to do in daily life, is always being present. And so just having that time to be present at Passion and during worship, just seeing how many people around you are freely and just fully worshiping the Lord and singing songs with all their hearts, I think is just such a cool experience. And I'm extremely grateful that I got to experience it at Passion.
yeah, and it sounds like an amazing thing. And as you're talking, I know, we've shared that you were diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 14. How did you dealing with that? How did your faith affect your ability to not let that hold you down? And not only that, you become an All-American athlete, and then now you're a D1 athlete.
Yeah. I credit a lot to my parents with my faith, because they've just been such shining examples, and they, when I was diagnosed, never gave me any sort of doubt that I was going to be able to still achieve the goals I wanted to achieve. And they also gave me a really good perspective of that it wasn't like I was being punished or
Right,
anything, that I had type 1. And I never was necessarily, I wasn't really ever angry at God about it, and
right,
more just, obviously I was frustrated. I wasn't happy that I had type 1, but I more took it as it's not going to stop me. And how is God going to use this in me to help other people?
right.
That's been more my focus than really anything else. And I've just always wanted that my type 1 would not hinder how anyone else sees me. So like when I was being recruited and everything, I just didn't tell people I had type 1. I'm like, it doesn't
Wow.
say anything about me, it doesn't say anything about how I play volleyball. It's really irrelevant for them to know until they need to know it,
Yeah,
because I mean, it's a serious thing
yeah,
in terms of health. But I didn't want anyone to come at it in the way of already having this preconceived thing about type 1, because a lot of people don't understand it
yeah,
or understand what it actually is. And I didn't want any coach to think it was going to limit me in any way
yeah.
or make it dampen their view of me as a volleyball player because of what they thought it would mean for my career or anything. So I just didn't tell them.
Yeah.
And I showed them what mattered was how I played volleyball, because that's the only thing that mattered.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like my big thing with college and high school and recruiting and everything. I was like, I'm not going to let anyone get any sort of thought in their mind that I'm less capable because of something, and because I know it doesn't make me less capable in any way. nor was I going to let it. And every day is different. Every day is hard in its own way. But just having the mindset of that it's just an obstacle. It's just a day. Like, you're going to get through it. It is what it is. And you just have to give yourself grace and keep working hard. And that's just a mindset you got to have, and have good people around you is really important. My parents have definitely helped me in that always, and pushed me and helped me through times when it's gotten tough of just the mental load, but having good people around, it helps a lot with that mental load.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can see that in everything that you do, whether it's your social content or when we're talking. So that's it's really cool for everybody else to hear. And the reason why I say here is because like when you interact with someone like I talk with you, I feel it. So it's great. I really appreciate you sharing your journey and your walk.
Thank you.
And that goes to we got a question. Ronnie said, first of all, he said, this is funny. He said, not the serial killer. We're talking about not people who don't close your eyes during prayer. All right. So he has a serious question, though, Ronnie. That is hilarious. So I'm just saying, if you think about it, I'm just saying. He asked, does Reagan have a Bible verse or two on her volleyball shoes? And why those verses?
I have multiple, actually. On both my shoes, I have Bible verses lining around. And I also have a hashtag live like Emma, my friend who passed away from brain cancer. But all of the verses on my shoes, well, I have Philippians 4:13, because I've been writing that one on places, and like since my swim days, when I would, when you write on their backs with Sharpies and be like, eat my bubbles. Write Philippians 4:13 and
I'm sorry. You caught me off guard with that. Let's get back to Philippians 4:13.
That's just a verse I've always loved. So that's on my shoes. And then the rest of the verses on my shoes are all verses. I have a verse from each of my family members. So my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister-in-law, my other brother, and my little sister. And it's all verses that they gave me that I wrote around there.
Man, I love that. And the laughter, I love it. I love the Bible verses on your shoes. And the laughter comes when you get two former church camp kids together on a live stream. If you know, you know.
Yeah. That's actually another thing we did in Line at Passion is I started singing random old like church camp or old Bible school songs.
Yeah.
Wow, I was maybe a little delusional at that point.
Yeah, my mom and dad used to make me. The reason I say make, now I'm looking back and I'm so glad they did. But my mom would be like, look, you're going to have to go to Vacation Bible School, right? And every year until I stopped going, I was like, man, maybe if I don't say anything, my mom won't remember this year. Man, they used to put a sign out at the church, like when you were like first walk in, and my mom never forgot. But we had some of the best times. We had some amazing friendships and things that we did. So that's why when you're telling these stories, it's like taking me back.
Yeah, it's good times. I mean, my brothers were both camp counselors at a Christian camp. I mean, my dad guest talked one week a summer at a camp. So I was always at church camp. I loved it though. I absolutely love church camp and VBS. I think it's so fun. And it's just like core memories.
Yeah.
So it's just such a cool thing to do and like be a part of. And I've loved volunteering at them too since. And yeah, I've got some whipped cream thrown in my face before.
Well, here's the thing. I think everyone loved Vacation Bible School so much. They created this huge world famous event called Passion, which is like adult summer vacation Bible school.
Exactly.
Think about it, people. That's how you fill up 65,000 people. Ronnie, shout out to you for the question. Keep them coming. If you're new and you just joined in, we're here with the one, the only Reagan Lance, D1 athlete, influencer, and just all around amazing person. All right. So yeah. So I gotta ask you about this though, about your time in Atlanta. What number year is this for you? Do you see yourself going? And then Also, I was wondering while I was looking at your content, I was like, man, does she make new friends there? Because it looks like a community online.
Yeah, this is year 2 of going to Passion. I 100% plan on making a year 3. Next year, it's actually going to be in Dallas, Texas. So I'm very excited about that.
Wait,
Still
where?
need to buy my tickets, but I'm 100% planning on going just because it's such a cool experience. And I've loved it every time. So why not go again? And what was the other part of that question?
Have you met new friends and community?
Oh my goodness, yes. I mean, randomly met people, like met some girls in the elevator, followed each other on TikTok, and followed this other girl on Instagram, met her in line. We played heads up with them and just asked each other, are you going next year and things like that. It's just cool to then be able to connect with them later on and be like, oh my goodness, are you here this year? And maybe sit by them. We met some people in line and became good friends with them and waited in line with them every single day after that. So it was just really cool to meet some other people and learn about other people in their lives. And it was really cool.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And it's just a reminder the Passion Conference isn't just an event, it's a reset for people. Faith, family,
Mm-hmm.
connection, it's all there. And even a little mixture of TikTok drama.
Always, always.
All right, let's get on to some internet drama, um a little bit less safe, but a lot more, but it's equally fun because I love the passion story. So, what do you guys, if you guys have joined us every time before we move forward, we're always adding things. If you notice, we have new overlays, we've got things that we're doing, you see things pop up. So, one of the things we're just learning. So we're going to bring things on screen. They may pop up, so we'll work through them and we're going to keep going. But we've got to talk about these internet streets, Reagan. We got to talk about it. All right. So here is the latest drama. Y'all know how much I love it. All right. So we've got some things going on. So Kai Cenat's been named in Drake's lawsuit against Universal Music Group. Have you been following this, Rig? I know you were at Passion, but I was locked in on my phone.
No, this has not been the side of TikTok I've been on.
All right. So basically, just an overview. Drake's basically saying he's suing his own record label. This is what's crazy. He's suing his own record label. And here's what happened. Kai was named in here. If you look at this Vibe article, Kai, he reacts to being named. And then he found out during stream, his team was like, stay on stream because he was like ready to crash out. He's like, what? Why am I involved in this? So what happens is he's saying Universal allowed him, paid him and other people to react to the Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. So they made a bag. And then what's crazy is he's saying, you guys ran my name into the ground and you allowed people to do it. So and then he's saying you whitelisted. So whitelisting, if you guys don't know, as a streamer, and Reagan, you know this because you create a bunch of content. If you use any Universal, Sony, or copyrighted music, they will flag you, like literally for humming. Like people, if you hum a song, they will ding you. So Reagan, here is my question for you. All right, is Drake doing the right thing to stand up for his name, or did he lose the battle to Kendrick and he's being a lame and taking this way too far?
Oh, I honestly think in this day and age, you just got to take the hits that are given to you. You can't really control everything that comes out of someone's mouth. And maybe that just means there's truth to it.
Oh, wow. This is crazy. Y'all hear
I'm
that?
not agreeing that the song is like, I think I know what song it is. Can't exactly remember right now. But I'm just saying, I mean, it's celebrities. There's always drama going on. People are going to put your names in songs or be talking about you, but
Right.
why all this money in a lawsuit? I feel like it's just a waste of time.
All right. And you know, that's a fair point. and it's a crazy song. So the lyrics, it's a diss track, obviously, for those who don't know, by Kendrick Lamar. And so basically, he's saying he made an accusation, which I won't repeat because it'll get us in trouble. But he's basically saying, "You're not like us. We're cool. We're normal. You not so much so." And so ever since then, Drake's just been doing all these crazy things. And here's the thing that's so crazy, guys, is we're not getting any Drake music because what's happening is since he sued UMG, they're like, look, bro, you're not gonna put any music out. So do you think this helps Drake or does it help Kendrick, who can go out and make music and doesn't have all these issues?
I think this helps Kendrick more than it helps Drake because by Drake bringing all this up, like coming after him,
Right.
he's just helping Kendrick's case. Maybe like, oh, is this all real? Like, is what he's saying true? And then also, like, he just bit himself in the butt because now he can't make music.
Right.
Kendrick can keep making music. Kendrick can make another diss track. Drake, you just like buried yourself here. I mean, not like you haven't done that before, as most celebrities have. So he'll be fine. He'll get over it. But
Yeah.
I mean, he just bit himself in the butt for the time being.
Yeah. I think Drake is just not. I think he is absolutely wilding right now. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you can't fight against your own label. And what he's actually doing is he's suing his label saying, not only did you let him use the music, you boosted the music, right? Which people have been saying, like, how does some artists like go to the top and you can't pull them down? But then let's say the artist you like, Reagan, it's a great song, but you can't find it in the top 100 or top 200. So he's kind of like exposing it. So I think that there's a no-win situation for him. He needs to take his L and keep trucking down the road.
Also, how can he be mad at the producing company to boost someone's music that they're producing?
Yeah.
Like that just doesn't make sense in my head. Then why are you at the same place?
Well, and then it also asks the question, okay, you've been on top for like the last X number of years. Were you being boosted too? And were you mad about it then?
Exactly.
Same energy, Drake. Keep the same energy. All right. I don't see you putting out a diss track, but we do know that volleyball players are very passionate. Lots of competitions because you guys been playing since the way back on the club. By the time you get to college, you get to the pros. Would you drop a diss track as a funny beef with another college program if it was like both of you guys took it as like something fun?
Oh, 100%. If it was like a mutual, like we were doing it together and like it was like a funny thing, 100%. But I would never drop a diss track to actually diss on someone.
I'm trying to imagine right now you on a diss track. I think you had some bars on. I'm gonna tell you guys why. Because she grew up in church, she can probably sing, which means she has harmony, and I bet you could flow over a beat because you sing. You sing now and grew up singing. Is that accurate?
I can sing. So if the lyrics were written for me, I can do it.
Oh man, so much foolishness. But I tell you what, the internet streets never get going. Now I have to bring it. It's probably going to as you guys know, as you can see, we are absolutely just really transforming the show. Shout out to Reagan Lance here. You know, we started with no logo, just streaming. We didn't have all of these things. And each week we're adding something. So one of the things I'm going to add this, your screen is probably going to jump a little bit. I have to
follow trends, got a music style.
All right. All right. All right. All right. Sorry. I don't know what happened there. So sorry about that. So basically, didn't mean to play that part of it. Okay. We got to talk about this is the craziness of live streaming, y'all. Sometimes things go different ways than you expected. So got to talk about the latest one. Fousey, who was just rapping, came out against Kai Cenat and he dropped his own diss track. And in there, I'll just read it because we won't play it again. He basically says that Kai Cenat has a stylist, that basically nothing about him is original. His clothes, his style, everything he's doing, and he dropped it in a. You guys can go look for it on TikTok. Reagan, what do you think about creators airing their beefs like this? Is this good for engagement? Is Fousey like clout chasing, or is this just messy?
I think it's just a little messy, like, but I get it for they're 100% just trying to get engagement and just trying to get people to interact with their page, whether people are actually happy with them or not. They don't care. I mean, JoJo Siwa's kind of crazy, but all the time she does something crazy, she gets a lot of views on her page. So whether
Man.
people like her or not, she has a lot of followers and gets a lot of views because, yeah.
And what's so crazy about it too, y'all, um is that we what's so crazy about this whole situation is I really think Fousey is mad because he didn't get invited on Mafiathon. So this was like his get back to Kai Cenat. So, all right, gotta ask you about this before we wrap. All right, one of the big things that's going on, we know Travis Hunter from Colorado, big Heisman Trophy winner. He had to shut down his Instagram. We know about that story. But I have to ask you this as a D1 athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Reagan, is social media killing relationships right now?
I mean, I feel like it depends on how big your name is. I think that's why it's important to keep private for a little bit when you start out with a relationship. I like the soft launch, hard launch things that people do. I think it's good to have some of your life be private, especially if you're really in the public eye. So I think there's nothing wrong. I think people feel a little entitled to know everything that's going on in your life sometimes, but I think it's good to stay as private as you can for a little bit, and then it's fine like opening it up, but be prepared that people are going to have their opinions and other things may come about and routes about. So you better be a little firmer in your relationship before you bring it out to the public eye and are ready for all that may come with that.
Yeah.
Especially for a name like Travis Hunter. I mean, there are people that could just be saying things just to get back at them.
Yeah. And Travis has absolutely been crazy because they put all this out in their stream. It came back on them and they had a lot to do with it. So, got to ask you a question. Would you post a boyfriend on your socials? Yeah or nah?
Yes, but not until like later on in dating, probably.
All right, y'all. Social media is changing everything, even love. The line between private and public, it's like getting blurrier every single day. These are so many things to think about. Just think about like when parents were like dating with no internet and nothing to think about. So, all right, Reagan, great show. Before we get up out of here, again, can you share your socials so that for people to follow you, make sure you guys are following the one and only Reagan Lance?
Yes, my Instagram is just at Reagan Lance. And then also my TikTok is linked in the bio of my Instagram. But my TikTok is Ray_Grace with 2 E's. Or if you find my TikTok first, my Instagram's linked in my TikTok bio. So
All right. All right. So as we get out of here, we always talk about our motivation. Mine's really simple. It's just, I think you touched on it earlier. I think right now it's all about your day ones, your friends, your family members, and all the people who kind of hold you down. And so never forget about them, lean into them, and make sure you take care of them. So, Reagan, as we wrap, what is your motivation for everybody right now?
my motivation for everyone right now is that to just keep working towards what you want to work towards. Don't let anything get in your way and remember why you're doing it.
All right, there we go. All right, everybody, it's been a fire show. We covered so many topics. Reagan, do you want to get us out of here? Say goodbye to everybody and do all the good work for us.
Yes, don't forget to like the stream, subscribe to the channel, and follow us for all the highlights. See you next time on Vibe Check.
See ya.